reality sets in, and we're here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned. In blood.
Boxing King Media, we're here again, episode 50. Dom, we made it to 50.
The big 5-0.
The big 5-0. I was hoping we'd have like special guests, but the next best thing is we've got like a special announcement. Dom Ingle's back in business, basically.
I've always been in business. I've never been out of business. I've always had my eye over everything in the gym. I've, do stuff behind the scenes. I just don't publicise it as much.
Yep, definitely. But when I say in business, I mean like, one of your A-list fighters coming back. Everyone's kind of been waiting for Kell to see what his future plans are. But we're going to come to Kell in a bit. I'm going to start off initially with, have you put the heating on yet?
What, in the gym or my house?
Both? Cause
yeah, it's gone in.
changed.
Yeah, do you know what? I've put it on in my house beginning of October. I think you're supposed to wait to the end as a Yorkshireman, but we're getting a bit cold because I've dropped body fat. You see, I'm about 10%, and I'm feeling cold. When you're rocking an 8-pack, what happens? And you walk around the house in your underpants to show it, to be whatever. It's like it's cold, so you have to put the heating on.
I've just got this image of an AI image coming out soon. Dom walking about in his pants with a heating.
We can do a proper one. We don't need an AI image.
No, thank you very much. And I saw you on the bag the other day, Dom. A lot of people, I saw some people suggesting, could that have been an AI video? With your top off, smashing that new Ingle gym bag?
No, it's not an AI video, is it? That's what I look like. That's what happens 20, 30 years of old graft. It's pays off, doesn't it? But yeah, the bags are doing well. I'm getting a lot of interest. I've got AJ's representatives coming on. His representative. He's getting his special delivery from Fat Nasser, as we call him. He's coming to pick the bags up, so they're finally done. They're going over to Dubai. But you're going to tell me this?
Yes, I can't yet. But
okay.
it'll be hopefully imminent. But he's pretty big. But Fat Nass, as you called him, the famous Fat Nass of Sheffield. I don't know if that's his official name, but yeah, he's going to come and collect the bags.
Yeah, we've given him the official title. He's had that for a long time. Fat Nasser, yeah, that's the way you describe him.
Yep. How many bags is AJ taking?
I think he's having 4, but he's had 1 already, I think, but he's having 4. But yeah, they're good. They're all good to go. I've had a lot of interest, and they're selling like hotcakes, so that's good.
Brilliant stuff. Like always, I'll put the email address up if anybody wants one of the Ingle gym bags. Just go on Dom's Instagram account if you want to see what it's like. Obviously, you got Dom. I don't know how much he weighs, but Dom's like a heavyweight punching.
I'm not heavyweight. That's cruiserweight actually. On that one, 14, 4. I want even 14, 4, 200.
Bridgerweight?
Huh?
You're Bridgerweight then?
No, cruiserweight.
Well, you got Dom smashing the bag up, and you can see the fact that there's very little movement on the bag, and it's obviously quite a unique bag. In fact, I'll have the video up so you can see the video right now, so you can see Dom. It's definitely not an AI video, and if you're not convinced, come down to the gym and ask Dom to take his top off for you. I'm pretty sure he'll oblige. Yeah, you probably would, wouldn't you?
Well, what we could do is get an empty bag, put somebody in it, and then I could hit that bag with him in it. That's kind of...
Yeah, there you go. So, Dom, bare knuckle. We never spoke about bare knuckle. We saw a top fighter in his time, Paulie the Magic Man Malignaggi. He made he was bare knuckle boxing debut. He's previously fought on a different bare knuckle organisation, but bare knuckle boxing who are kind of going worldwide now. A guy called Mike Vasquez, who's from America, just basically doing what the UFC did a few years ago. Interesting. Did you see the fight, and what did you think of Paulie's performance?
I did watch it actually. We watched it on the train coming back from London, me and Luca. And he boxed like he normally boxes. He got the movement, and I don't really associate bare knuckle fighting with that kind of thing, because you usually see 2 travellers or 2 hard men just stood, pounding each other, not too much distance. But that was like a boxing match with no gloves on, which didn't really excite me, to be honest. But fair play to Paulie Malignaggi. He's still got the moves in his 40s, still got the boxing ability. Obviously, you can't hit each other as hard because you've got no gloves on, but he's still got his face mashed up and cuts all over, and it wasn't a pleasant sight. And it's You know, have to ask myself the question, why on earth would you want to do that unless you need the money? But, you know, I suppose it appeals to some people. It's not my cup of tea, to be honest. I'd rather see non-boxers having bare knuckle fights. I think it's more exciting and more unpredictable. I'm not really a fan of, you know, two boxers just taking the gloves off and doing it.
Yeah. Well, Paulie, the weird thing is, like, he comes across as this, like, clean-cut guy, very business, but he's from, you know, when people say, I'm from the streets, he's literally from
definitely.
the streets.
Listen, a performance that always stands out in my mind when you have to give him full credit is when he boxed Miguel Cotto. He put in a tremendous performance, and you know that's what you have to do. And you know, I hope he has made some money because he was a very good boxer, very good analyst as well. He's very good at working people out. He can, you know, scope a fight very well, and that's probably why he's done well in boxing, because he can get the measure of people. I always remember when he went over to Russia and boxed, Senchenko beat him on a cut and became the world champion. So I think he did anyway.
Yeah, he did.
And then obviously I'm not sure whether he boxed Ricky before that or after Senchenko. But you know, fair play to Malignaggi, has a good career and he's still doing it and he's still fit. Just don't want him getting mashed up, really, to be honest.
I tell you what was interesting, because I asked him what was his secret to getting in the shape he got into, and the fact that for 3 rounds he had his legs.
Don't tell me he bought my cookbook.
No, he didn't buy your cookbook, but what he did was he basically used the air bike. He goes, the air bike was quite.
Yeah, how many rounds was it that fight?
5 threes, 5 3. So he basically was doing fast sprints on the air bike and shadow boxing. They were the 2 things that he did. He did no pads, no sparring. That was his preparation.
He's just got to be fit. And I think when you've done don't forget it's only a 5-rounder as well. When you think he's trained for 12 rounds, when you get to that age, you've just got to make sure you just get you're training for the event. That's all it is. And he's got what 15 minutes of exercise basically. 5 rounds, 3 minutes, 15 minutes of action. Everything's fast. And that's all you've just got to be fast for 15 minutes. And that's what he did. He moved around, he picked the kid off, did a little bit of showboating, you know, but obviously getting hit in the face with bare hands is more damaging. You get more marks on your face, you get more slashes, no protection. And you can't, like I say, you can't hit each other as hard, but it's still hard enough to, you know, to cause damage.
Well, the cuts is fascinating, but the cuts actually came from the 2 on his forehead were from headbutts.
Yeah, I can imagine, obviously.
And, he got a poke in the eye, which is an illegal maneuver. Knuckle. And then he got
gouging.
Yeah, and then he got a punch to the back of the ribs, which ended up fracturing his L1. I don't know if you know where the L1 is. Apparently, it's the first part of the rib cage, lower back. So yeah, so it's weird. All the 3 injuries he got were from illegal moves.
Yeah, well, that's generally the case, isn't it?
Yeah. How long do you think it'll take to recover from something like that? I don't know if you've seen the cut.
That's weeks for your ribs. Weeks. I mean, I always remember one time Johnny Nelson boxed in Germany, and he'd been sparring over here. He'd been sparring here with Mark Hobson from Huddersfield that way, and he come down, and I always remember Mark Hobson hitting Johnny to the body, and Johnny just holding his hands up and saying, "Come on, hit me harder!" And this kid's whacking away, and Johnny's laughing at him. And Mark Hobson afterwards went, "Oh, Dominic," he goes, "I used to watch Johnny Nelson and think he'd be easy to beat." He goes, "When you get in there, it's a different kettle of fish." But Johnny boxed in Germany against a guy called Rudy May, and Johnny was boxing. After 3 rounds, he came back 2 or 3 rounds, and he was breathing heavy. And I just thought, you know, is this because he's had to make the weights? I think it was the last time he made 13.8 or whatever. He was breathing heavy. He didn't seem fit. And "You're right, yeah, I'm all right. Anyway, he ended up getting a point took off him, and then he knocked this guy out. And he was in extreme pain afterwards. And he come back to the change and went, "Get me the doctor. Get me some injections in to get rid of this pain." And I said, "What's happened?" He went, "I didn't want to tell you." He says, "But a couple of weeks ago when I was sparring Mark Hobson, I let him hit me in the ribs. He damaged my ribs. And I knew if I tell you, you'd pull me out. So I never said anything. I thought I'd get through this fight without getting it to the body." Because then I got caught with a good body shot in the 2nd round. And it kind of took everything out of me, and I just needed to get through the fight. So yeah, it takes a long time. And now Johnny's actually got a bit where his rib actually sticks up where he got hit. So yeah, it takes a long time.
The bit I want to speak to you about is that, because you might have previous experience with going to hospitals with fighters. So obviously we put the video out of him speaking from Leeds General. He got took in about 10:30. and at 4:30 he was still sat there with a massive gash on his head, not stitched up. He just had numerous doctors coming in asking him the same questions, and then eventually I think they did the CAT scan about 2-3 in the morning, but I believe he wasn't stitched up till about 9-10 till the day's doctors came on. So what I want to ask you is, because there's some misconceptions, people assume that you like the promoters sort out private healthcare for you. Like what is the situation? Like what happens?
Well, this is why there's a massive difference between the Boxing Board of Control, what we call it, licensed and unlicensed fighting, and really the bare knuckle stuff is really unlicensed, isn't it? And the Board of Control have always been good with the medical side of things, but one big case with Michael Watson years and years ago, where there was, the board were negligible, and it cost them a lot of money. But the medical side of it now is so watertight with the board. It's difficult, to make any complaints. Everything seems to go well. And when you box on a professional boxing show in the UK under the Boxing Board of Control, if you get a cut, the doctor stitches you after the fight. There's 2 or 3 doctors on call. There's paramedics. It's really tight. You get stitched up before, or they look and they think you might need some butterflies. But whatever you do before you leave that venue, you have to be checked out. So before you can leave. And if Paulie Malignaggi got...
He was taken in an ambulance to Leeds General. So
well, maybe he was. But yeah, I know it's going to the hospital, but the Board of Control obviously do the same thing. They got the paramedics and everything else. And obviously when you get to the hospital, there's nothing else you can do. But he would have been stitched. If he was waiting for the stitches, he would have been stitched at the show, without a doubt. You don't leave them venues without getting stitched. That's what they do.
What if it was a situation where he felt nausea? Because obviously,
that is a point. But did he say he was feeling nauseous? Yes. Or whatever? Well, that's the signs there is they look at your eye, see if any pupils are dilated. They wait for you to vomit. There's lots of other things. You can feel nauseous, but there's lots of other things you have to check for. So they check your eyes generally when there's some pressure on your brain, one of your pupils dilates, I think, and you physically get sick. That's the big warning signs when they're going to rush you straight in. And when you get to hospitals, they do triage, they assess how bad you are. So it obviously wasn't deemed bad enough. I don't think it was anything to do with, not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're just going to look and think, well, you've been in a fight, we've looked at everything, we've checked you out. They'll have checked him when he got there. They'll have probably done his blood pressure, or they've, checked his heart rate, or checked his eyes, or whatever, and they'll have had somebody watching him. But and they just deemed it not threatening, and they just leave you there because there'll be more important people. Somebody who's probably been drunk in Leeds, getting smashed or walked into lamppost, who's probably got more priority over some fighter. So that's generally how it is. But with the Board of Control, everything's sorted. I've only been to the hospital on very rare occasions.
But the bit I want to ask you is it always the local hospital, not private, is it?
No, it's always
have
local.
a private setting?
You could have it private if you wanted to do it yourself. But
Does anyone ever do that? Any promoters?
No, but there's no need, because it's they already, when you box in Sheffield, the hospitals are already alerted that you've got a boxing show on and there could be an emergency. So it's all coordinated. I remember one time when KELL Brooke boxed Carson Jones, and after the fight he was absolutely exhausted. He'd been swallowing blood. He laid down on the floor, and the doctor said, straight away, he's got to take him straight to hospital, and he went to hospital and got checked out, and I think same with Chris Eubank Jr.
Yep.
The Board of Control have to do everything right, because they've just, they've obviously suffered bad in the past, so they're not going to slip up. And I don't think these other organisations yet are on the same level. They're probably just getting away with the minimum amount of aftercare, I think.
Well, it's good to know that, because I think there's a big misconception that it's got to be done private, etc.
No,
So
it's not private.
It's good to know that. The second thing I want to talk to you about is, we had the unfortunate news of obviously Ricky Hatton passing away a few weeks ago, and obviously it was confirmed in the last week that he took his own life. Obviously, you was at the funeral. Any thoughts on that news, and any support or guidance you can give to any fighters that are just about to retire?
Well, I think when he's in that funeral, I think there was a lot of speculation that Ricky had taken his own life, and he talked about it in the past many times. And it's so sad, because the warning signs are always there in plain view, And people say, why didn't somebody help him? But I don't think people understand with these, you know, the likes of Ricky Hatton and fighters I've been in contact with over the years, is even though they'll admit these things, they all think they can sort it themselves, or they'll just get on with it, and that's just the way they are. That's the mentality. KELL Brook's the same, King Gallad's the same, Ricky will be the same. Oh, I'll sort it. And they don't really want to put on anybody. So, and when you're trying to pin them down, you know, trying to go around to the house, there's been times when I've been around to box. I'll tell you a little story. One time Dave Allen was in a very, very dark place. And my dad ended up going round to Doncaster in his flat and having a chat to him. And Dave will tell you the same story. So, because they don't ask for help, that's the thing. Because whether it's the pride, I'm not sure. But even when you're going around to check on them, they're hard people to track down. They don't answer the door. A number of times I've been to KELL's house, don't answer the door, he's in. It's like they don't want to talk to anybody. So it's all right saying, well, you know, should have had more care, but it's trying to track them down and keep it, because they are hard to track. They're not easy. Keeping tabs on them. So, you know, I think people are aware of that, but there's only so much you can do with people. And it's sad, and I think his eldest daughter kind of gestured towards that he'd taken his own life, because she said something like, we're not ashamed of what you've done, which you shouldn't be ashamed of what he's done, because I would imagine he's been a terrific father, he's been a terrific fighter, he's served Manchester really, really well. And, you know, who knows why, the whys and wherefores, you know, why people take their life. It's obviously not a good thing. And that's what Ricky's done. And, you know, there'll be a lot of people saddened by that. His family, obviously, terribly saddened. And people will be looking to blame. You know, it'd be this for this reason and that reason, but, you know, you can't blame anybody for that kind of thing. It's a personal choice. And it's just so sad that he felt he had to do that, because he was well loved in Manchester, well respected, regardless of whether, you know, he got beat in the big fights. Nobody cares, because he just represented Manchester that well. You know, he put Manchester on the map. Millions must have gone into that city when he boxed. You know, there should be a statue up. He should be, you know, heralded as a son of the city. You know, his name should be up in lights, because he did so much for that place. There's no other boxer from Manchester who's done as much as him. So it's really sad, very, very sad occasion. But I'm glad, you know, people turned out for him. Everybody came, said the bit. Adam Smith did a tremendous speech, and Adam had a lot of personal connection with Ricky, and he was obviously visually upset. But he did a tremendous speech, and you know what that's like when you spend the time with the fighters coming through. You know, Adam was the same with Naz. They've seen the growth of them coming through and performing on TV and having that journey with them. So yeah, terribly sad.
Indeed, and yeah, we you know, pass our condolences once again to his family and friends. And then the other part to this, where it kind of links into Ricky again. Ricky was due to fight in Dubai at some point in the next few months against a guy called Issa Elder, and it's crazy how life and destiny works out. This same guy, Issa Elder, is now fighting KELL Brook. He's bringing KELL Brook out of retirement, and thankfully he is like I think the event is a tribute on kind of a celebration of Ricky Hatton, and also I think the Ricky Hatton Foundation are going to be involved in part of the event as well. So if you've not followed that Instagram page, get on there. And they're obviously doing a lot of work helping, supporting people that are struggling. So yeah, KELL Brook coming out of retirement. So Dom, I'm guessing the way you and KELL work, first question, yes or no, are you going to be training KELL for this comeback?
Yeah, I am going to be training him. I've always been training him, and it's a bit of a weird story, this, because obviously the whole setup with Ricky fighting over in Dubai, we were in Dubai in the summer with my fighters VJ and Yuv Korea, the two twins were on triplets actually, but there's two of them, and they'd had the fight, and we were unaware of this. Next minute, Ricky Hatton comes on a screen, and they're publicising a fight in December with Ricky, and that was the first I heard of it. I thought that'd be interesting. And obviously, you know, what's happened with Ricky's happened, and then I think KELL must have put something on Instagram about Ricky, and these people contacted KELL, and they had that negotiation. And then KELL's always been in and out of the gym training, one thing and another, but then he started training a little bit more, and I thought, a bit strange. And then the last few days, I had a conversation with his dad and he said, look, they've offered Kell to do this fight for the charity, for Ricky, for whatever, to step in his place. And, you know, Kell's done a couple of weeks. Well, he's been training for a couple of weeks anyway, but last week he really stepped it up. He's got the punch. He's still got it seems like he's got the ambition for it. Whether it might be a different story where he gets punched in the face, starts sparring, but it's about 16 weeks away. He's in a good place. He's not overweight. The fight's at middleweight. He's not going to be killing himself to make the weight. The guy's not a world beater. It'll be an interesting match, and who knows, maybe Kell's going to take it somewhere else after this fight. But for now, there's a date, Friday the 13th. It could all go wrong in Dubai, but that's the thing. We're going out to Dubai not next week, week after next, I think, to a press conference. See how the land lies, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, Issa Alder, who's got 8 wins and 3 losses on his record, and I suppose you can't blame Kell for fighting somebody with that kind of record after what, two years out, is it?
Yeah.
2 years out. So
well, probably 3 in it.
And I understand that it is going to be a professional bout, so it's not a gimmick. He's got in there to beat this guy and obviously protect his legacy. Is it a kind of like to test the waters to see what he's got left, and would you consider him carrying on?
Well, you know, maybe it is to test the waters, but you know, people ask me, is Kell coming back? And I don't know. When, you know, over the last 3 years, it's been longer than 3 years, I think, hasn't it? 20 to 23 to 24.
3 years.
Yeah, nearly 3.5. But he's always been ticking over and coming in the gym and doing a bit of sparring. I've had him down at the weights in Rotherham Ultraflex doing some conditioning down there. And, you know, it raises a few eyebrows when Kell starts walking into a weight training gym, because people think, well, it must be a bit serious because he's just not fiddling around in the boxing gym. But he's training well. I think, what is he, 39, Kell now? Seems settled in his new situation. He's got a son. Maybe that's the motivation. And I used to say to Kell, look, you know, the time to finish boxing when you've no longer got the drive to go in and beat people up. Don't be doing it for the money. So if you've got something to prove and you like the look of it and you like the taste of it, then it's up to you. And I've said to him, you know, if we do this and you're not looking like where you should be, I'll just say you really shouldn't be doing this and I won't be taking part in it, regardless if I've spent weeks and weeks training him. If I get to the point where I just think, you know what, he has a sparring session and he looks terrible or whatever, it'd be like, to be honest, Kell, like, you don't need to be doing this. I don't really want to be involved. But we'll see. So far, so good. He's, like I say, he's been doing it a couple of weeks. But last week he really stepped it up a little bit. And he seems to be handling the training load easy enough.
Yeah, well, look forward to it. Hopefully we can try and get some behind the scenes stuff on his progress and see how he's getting on. But he does look very, very happy with his little boy. So yeah, looking forward to that fight. I'm guessing you're wanting or expecting a knockout win?
Well, we'll just see, won't we? You never know when people have had time out. It's just weird how it works out with some people. Some people look like they've never been away, and then some people look like they've never boxed.
How many rounds is the fight?
8, I think.
Okay, 8 threes. Okay, good stuff. We're looking forward to that. Should be good. February's a really good time in Dubai. The weather's just perfect.
Oh, perfect. We might have to have an extended training camp there before and then.
Yeah. From
Christmas into February.
Definitely sounds like a great plan. I'm sure Luke will love that. Next thing, finally, I want to get your prediction on the big heavyweight fight at the weekend. Fabio Wardley versus Joseph Parker. Big heavyweight dust up. You got a puncher versus a boxer. What are you thinking? We've got Andy Lee versus Ben Davison.
Who's the puncher and who's the boxer?
Well, Fabio Wardley would be expected to be the puncher, I'm guessing. But the other battle is two great trainers, Ben Davison and Andy Lee. So that battle of minds is quite interesting as well. And yeah, both promoted by Frank Warren. What's your mind saying?
Well, every time well, Joseph Parker really has been putting fights that people didn't really expect him to win, and he's always kind of turned it around. So you can't really write him off. Fabio's a bit younger. He's tough. It's his big step up, I think. Joseph Parker's got the experience. Fabio's got the ambition and the youth. So it's going to be a tough fight, and it's going to be an hard one to pick. It's all for, you know, it's all there for Fabio to win the fight, but I just feel that Joseph Parker's just got that kind of experience where he can kind of hold man him through the fight and get the win at the end, because he's done it so many times. Is this the fight when it's finally going to catch up with him? Who knows? But you know, I don't think, well, Fabio hasn't boxed anybody as good as him. You know, I know Fraser, he's boxed Fraser Clark, but you know, the experience and the people that Joseph Parker's been in with, and obviously he's a good performance against Deontay Wilder, even though he was faded, still did the job, still showed plenty of ambition. And I think Andy Lee's kind of motivated him and given him a new lease of life. So, you know, it's one of those fights, and it's like the changing of the guard. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think that Joseph Parker's just going to nick the fight.
Points, knockout?
I think it's be a points, close, tough fight. Be a bit of a war.
Okay, so you don't think...
Could even be a split decision.
Yeah. Well, Fabio always says you just need 1 second to get it right and it's lights off.
Well, it is, but realistically, when has Joseph Parker been knocked out?
He got knocked out by Joe Joyce, but that was like he got grinded down.
Yeah, when?
Before Andy Lee, I think.
And I would say, you know, Joe Joyce at that point was a big...
He did get dropped by Zhang, but he got back up.
Yeah, but Zhang's a big puncher. I mean, Zhang's a big puncher. At the time, Joe Joyce was like on a winning streak, I think, and beating everybody before he was on the slide. So that's understandable. And I don't think Fabio's on the same level as the best version of Joe Joyce, but time's gone on a little bit, hasn't it? So obviously a lot more wear and tear on Joseph Parker. But you know, it's the big chance for Fabio to make a statement, and I'm sure he's going to go out and take it with both hands. He's going to go out there and jump on him. But I just think that Joseph Parker's just one of them, like, he's in the like kind of twilight of his career, and he's doing really well, and he just seems to be, every win's a bonus. Like I say, he's been remotivated by Andy Lee, and Andy Lee's an ambitious trainer, and he'll not be training Joseph Parker to lay down, will he? So it's going to be an interesting fight. But I'm just going to go with Joseph Parker because he's just kind of been upsetting everybody of late.
Good stuff. That's it, really. I think. Press conference. Are you going to go out to Dubai for the press conference?
Yeah, we're going. I think it's not next week. It's the week after. I think we've got to go out for a few days and do the bit of publicity. So that's going to be interesting. And you know, I've got a couple of people out there. We've got gyms out there where we train. We've been out a few times to Dubai. Know it really well. Great place to be for training. Some fantastic gyms. Got a couple of sponsors out there who I deal with. And so yeah, exciting times. Let's see how it goes. You know, he's getting itchy knuckles, KELL, and he wants one more last dance, as they say. So we'll see where it goes. Yep.
Well, let's see how that progresses and our training camp goes. So yeah, Dom, appreciate it, and we'll catch you soon.
You know, the dreams do come true. Reality sets in.